When I look at these holdings here, advisors love a good stock story. Your top holding, Tilray. What's the investment thesis there?
Yeah, and that's a controversial one. So Tilray is a company that, as of 2 months ago, was barely in the portfolio, or certainly as of 6 months ago, was barely in the portfolio, and arguably one of those names that I'm talking about from Canada that I think destroyed a lot of capital. They were the first Canadian company to list on the NASDAQ. And there was a high-profile IPO. It was brought by Cowen, and a lot of people jumped in. This is a company that had they quickly set out and created some JVs with some very large, well-known consumer products companies, including Anheuser-Busch, including Novartis Sandoz, including Manitoba. And some of these JVs were really just, MOUs and not really much of anything, but there was a lot of great headlines around this company. Ultimately, in terms of the size of their revenue profile and their ability to operate profitably, no, not at all. In fact, this is a company that I think a lot of people got destroyed in early, and it's a name that we actually didn't want to own for a long, long time. And had, at least, relative to what benchmarks might be, especially market cap benchmarks. At one point, this was a $20 billion company when the market cap, was squeezed higher, also around some dynamics, not quite Reddit rebellion stuff that was going on, but as we got into the summer of 2018 and into 2019, it was really just a case where a lot of institutions who wanted to hold it. It was the only exposure institutions could get to cannabis. So that pushed the stock higher. And then there was a lot of institutions that said, this is a bad company. It's way too expensive and I want to short it. And it did lead to a short squeeze. But that's the company that we really never invested in. The company that we're now invested in did a merger with a company called Aphria about 3 months ago. Aphria, to me, has always been the best operator in Canada. They've been the most profitable company in Canada. In fact, they showed at least adjusted EBITDA profitability well before anybody else in Canada, and well before many in the sector. Aphria is run by Irwin Simon, who's a CEO that some investors may know from his time at Hain Celestial, which was one of the first organic foods brands that really built a very big loyal following, but also a very sophisticated consumer products company. And Irwin was brought in to run this company about a year ago. So he brought an expertise and leadership to a company that I thought was already the best operator in Canada. And at a time when I had a limit to the companies I could really invest in and put a lot of size behind because of the nature of liquidity, I had a pretty good size position in Aphria. When they decided to merge with Tilray, so you basically took two of the three largest Canadian operators and brought them together, I thought this really was an opportunity where this company could actually now go on the offensive. And I think Tilray, which is now the combination of Aphria and Tilray, now led by Irwin Simon, now a profitable company, and also a company that I think is looking globally and is looking at the United States, is a really interesting story. Even if I don't think that they have the same addressable market right now as a Curaleaf or a Green Thumb, and I do think that they're going to be doing some tactical M&A. The tactical side of this position, and I know I've been talking a long time, I just want to finish with this, though. The key to Tilray also is that this is a stock that, starting in January or so, even before this merger, was starting to get mentioned in some of these Reddit chat rooms, and was starting to become one of these stocks that was getting a Reddit rebellion bid to it. And I started nibbling at the company as I watched this happening in the cannabis space, like it was happening in other spaces. And again, big short interest in cannabis companies, some companies with actually some catalyst to seeing maybe there be some concerns about short covering and short squeezes. And so I started investing in Tilray even before the merger, as it went into this squeeze into February and squeezed up a few 100%. At one point, and at least from where it started trading the year, and then pulled back. And we were kind of active. It wasn't a big position, but then once they did the merger, and one of the things that I found with Tilray is that even in the last couple of weeks, as we've seen a resurgence of the GameStop AMC kind of behavior, Tilray is a name that finds itself sometimes with that kind of support. It's not why I own the stock. It's not how I would ever be picking stocks in this fund. In fact, if anything, I was using some of that momentum to actually fade a little bit of strength. When a stock's up 30%, to me, that's in my portfolio that I own for fundamental reasons in 4 days, and I think some of this is irrational, I'm actually taking a little bit of profit. So I didn't sell a major part of that position last week, but I was in the market selling a little bit on days when I saw it gapping higher when I don't think it reflected the fundamentals. So it's a long kind of way to talk about one position, which is, I think, a very controversial one, because I don't think that they're necessarily the best company in cannabis right now, even though I think they're very well positioned for the future.